I'm extremely fed up. I've just done a whole load of films and I hadn't turned my microphone on. I wanted to show you how to make these beautiful, big, fat, juicy meatballs. Um, but I will have to talk you through it. The film that I did for the tomato sauce is fine. So for the meatballs, I used 500 grams of ground meat. 400 grams were beef and 100 grams was pork. I also had a slice of bread. I took the crusts off and I splashed it with some milk, let the milk soak in, and then I crumbled the bread into little pieces. Into a big bowl, I put the meat, one lightly beaten egg, the bread that had been soaked in milk. I put in a teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of parmesan grated, 2 tablespoons of parsley, and a little pinch of nutmeg. Oh, and one medium sized onion that I had grated. So that all went in. And the secret to a really beautiful light meatball is you sort of just do this with your hands to get everything combined. And then when you form it into the balls, as you pull it together, you want to be have a really, really light touch and not sort of mush it up and do this. So just form them into balls and then put these in the fridge until you are ready to cook them. And now on with the tomato sauce. Every cook should have a tomato sauce up their sleeve. Here's mine. I'm going to start by heating plenty of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Once the olive oil is warm, I've got one medium-sized onion chopped very small. You're going to cook that on a low light until the onions are completely soft and translucent. When the onions are soft, it's taken about 10 minutes. I like to use very thinly sliced garlic. Put that in and cook it for 2 minutes. I've got 2 tins of whole plum tomatoes. This is the messy bit. I've said it before. If you buy the chopped tomatoes, they're much too pulpy and aren't nearly as good as the whole plum ones. And the way I do it is I get my hands in and I very gently squish them into the pan. So take your time because you do get splattered in it. I must admit, I'm loving this camera angle. I want everybody to always look at me from about a foot above my head. Okay, I've broken in all of the tomatoes. I'm going to give them a sprinkle of sugar. Sugar just helps tomatoes absolutely sing. And it also sort of counterbalances against the acidity of the tomatoes. I've got some fresh oregano from the garden, but you can use dry oregano or you could use thyme. You can use whatever you like in your Italian sauce. I'm also actually going to put in the stalks that I pick the leaves off from because I can always take those out afterwards. And I'm going to just season it very lightly. So just a little bit of salt to start with. You can always season it more at the end, and some pepper. I'm going to bring it up to a simmer and then have it set on the lowest light. You can't rush a good tomato sauce. There's a lot of water in the tomatoes. It needs a good 30 to 40 minutes to bring out all the delicious flavour. I also always make more than I need. It keeps very well in the fridge. If ever it doesn't get used up in the fridge, which is never, I would freeze it, but I've never had to. Oh, and one last thing. I do like a little bit of back heat in my tomato sauce. So I'm just doing a small pinch of chili flakes. It's not going to blow your head off. It's just that little bit of warmth. This has been cooking for 40 minutes. All of the excess moisture is gone. Taste it. It's perfect. But if you need to add seasoning, do. Tomato sauce. It's time to cook. I've had a quick costume change. You'll see there's 6 big balls here. 2, I think, is actually plenty per serving. But I am going to cook all of them because I love to have food that I can pick up the next day in the fridge. So if you wanted to make it for 4 people, just increase the measurements. I've got my sauce is staying nice and warm that we've made. I've got uh, quite a bit of vegetable oil in here. It's not deep, but it is enough to completely cover the bottom of the pan because we're going to brown the balls. And I've also got some potatoes on for mashed potato, but we'll try and do one thing at a time. So first of all, I'm going to brown the balls. So I know that for those of you that watch all my films, you know this stuff, but anyone that's new to my films, the thing when you are browning meat, see, they're stuck. The secret is they will become naturally unstuck when they're ready. So don't force them. Leave them there, and when they're ready to release, release. All we're doing with these balls is just browning them all over. Just while my meatballs are browning, this is butter which I have infused with, I made a bouquet garni of lots of herbs. There's quite a bit of butter, but I've infused it with the herbs for about half an hour, and that's what I'm going to pour into my mashed potato to make a really tasty mash. So here are the meatballs, browned, but they're not cooked through. One has fallen apart a bit. I'm not Saint Jules of cooking. Stuff happens. I don't want all of this excess vegetable oil, so I'm actually going to just drain it off into this bowl, and then I will dispose of it responsibly. I will not pour it. Oh, that's very badly poured. I won't pour it down the sink. I've said this before. Please don't pour fat down the sink. It's a horrible thing to do. So I'm going to put that back on, and I've now got my warm sauce, which I'm going to add to this pan because it's bigger to cook the meatballs in. So that can go in that pan, and we will just top it up with the meatballs. Yeah, you see some of them are crumbling, but that's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Pop them in so they just nestle, and then cook on a low light. I'm actually going to put the lid on for a little bit. I'm going to not waste those juices. I'm going to get the lid. And I'm also going to turn the gas on because that helps. So I'm going to let this bubble at a low light with the lid on for 25 minutes. It looked like a hunchback. Onto the mashed potato. I'm not going to salt them, so I've drained them. I also put a tea towel over the top for 10 minutes, which absorbs all of the excess moisture. You can use a conventional masher, but for a really smooth finish, I use this head on I think it's Kenwood. It's a Kenwood thing. So I'm going to start by pouring a little bit of this lovely butter that has been I'm really tired. It's been such a long day. It's been infused with all the herbs. Don't hold back on the butter. You'd be surprised how much you can actually get into mashed potato. Just to give you an idea of quantities, that was 4 medium-sized potatoes. I used 125 grams of butter. I've now mashed it with my machine. It does need a little bit more salt. And with mashed potato, I prefer white pepper. It might just be me. It's because white pepper does have a little bit more heat in it than black pepper. So the mashed potato is ready. I'm going to put the lid back on it and leave that to one side when we're ready to serve the meatballs. And here we are. They're ready. I'm going to serve. So here we have it. Big fat Italian meatballs with herb infused mash. I've got a few beans that I'm just going to pop there. And I might also just finish it off with some fresh basil, just pinching off the tops. Lovely. So enjoy.